The knife clattered against the diner counter, its blade catching the fluorescent buzz like a desperate plea for mercy. You think you can just walk back into my life, Stephen, after what you did, after you locked me in that goddamn basement like I was nothing? My voice cracked, raw as the November wind whipping through Brooklyn's back alleys. But I didn't care who heard. The waitress froze mid-pour, coffee dribbling black into the saucer. He didn't flinch, those storm-gray eyes locking onto mine with the same predatory calm that had haunted my dreams for 5 years, his broad shoulders filling the booth like he owned the whole damn city. I shoved the manuscript across the scarred formica table, pages fluttering like trapped birds, my heart slamming against my ribs as if it remembered the chains before my mind could catch up. Read it. And then tell me why the hell I shouldn't call the cops right now. Stephen's fingers, thick, calloused from years of hauling crates in some forgotten warehouse, brushed the stack, lingering just long enough to send a shiver up my spine that had nothing to do with fear. Or everything to do with it. He was older now, lines etched around his mouth like fault lines in concrete. But the alpha scent clung to him still. Cedar and smoke, sharp as the edge of betrayal. "Donald," he murmured, voice low and gravelly, the kind that used to unravel me in the dark. "You wrote this for me, didn't you?" Every word screams it. Brooklyn in late fall was a beast of its own. Gray skies bleeding into the slate roofs of brownstones, the air thick with the promise of snow and the ghosts of what-ifs. I'd built my life here like a sandcastle against the tide. A cramped studio walk-up in Williamsburg, walls papered with rejection letters turned abstract art. A laptop scarred from too many all-nighters chasing words that wouldn't bleed. I was Donald Hayes, 28 and invisible, the kind of queer kid who'd fled the Bible Belt for the anonymity of the big city, only to find that hiding meant writing under a pseudonym Elias Crow, for indie lit mags that paid in exposure and expired coupons. My stories? Fractured things about boys who loved too hard and broke too easy, alphas who claimed and crushed, omegas who rose from the ashes with teeth bared. Catharsis, I told myself. Therapy on the cheap. But that morning, as I nursed a black coffee in my favorite hole in the wall on Bedford Avenue, the email hit like a sucker punch. Subject, your submission. An offer you can't refuse. From the editor at Apex Press, the Alpharun powerhouse churning out gritty queer lit that actually sold. They'd loved Caged Echoes, my latest under Elias. Loved it enough to want a full novel, a 2-book deal, the works. And the editor? Stephen fucking Harlan. The man who'd alphaed his way into my life at 22. Fresh off a Greyhound from Alabama, when I was crashing on a friend's couch in Astoria, broke and beautiful in that reckless way that draws predators like moths to a porch light. We'd met at a dive bar poetry slam, me spitting verses about forbidden touches, him in the corner nursing a whiskey, his gaze stripping me bare before the first stanza ended. He was 35 then, all muscle and quiet command, a freelance carpenter with a laugh like thunder and hands that built furniture sturdy enough to fuck on without splintering. "You're a storm in a teacup, Donnie," he'd growled that first night, pulling me into an alley where the brick bit into my back and his mouth claimed mine like territory. I fell hard, stupid, omega hard into the fantasy of being wanted, really wanted, by someone who saw the fragility in me and didn't run. But alphas like Stephen, they don't just want, they own. 3 months in, the jokes started. Locking the bedroom door for fun, while he worked late, his scent mark heavy on my skin like a collar. Then the basement in his Queens row house, cold concrete, a single bulb swinging like a noose, where he hid me during his bad days. whispering apologies through the keyhole as the panic attacks clawed me raw. It's for your own good, baby. The world's too sharp for you out there. I scratched pleas into the walls, verses of rage and longing, until the day I picked the lock with a bent paperclip and ran, leaving bloodied fingerprints on the knob. 5 years, and I'd clawed my way to semi-stability therapy apps, freelance gigs, a network of queer writers who swapped Zoloft stories over IPAs. No alphas. No basements. Just words as weapons. Now, here he was, sliding into the booth across from me uninvited, that manuscript in his lap like a peace offering from hell. Apex Press had poached him from some corporate gig, editor-in-chief. The email said, with a mandate to elevate raw voices. My raw voice. The one he'd silenced once. I didn't know it was you, Don, he said, flipping open the pages, his thumb tracing a line I'd written in a fever dream. His touch was a lock, his love the key I swallowed to survive. Bullshit. He'd stalked my pen name. I could smell the lie on him, mingled with that damned cedar. Elias Crow, poetic as fuck. Suits you. Save it. I snatched my coffee, the mug burning my palm, but the pain grounded me. Outside, a yellow cab honked, slicing the tension like a lifeline. You gonna edit this, or just sit there smelling like regret? He leaned in, close enough that his breath ghosted my ear, stirring memories I'd buried under Brooklyn's relentless hum. I'll make you shine, kid. But first, dinner. My treat. For old times, old times. The words hung between us, heavy as the chains I'd imagined in my story. I should have said no. Walked out into the chill, blocked his number, burned the deal. But as he stood, towering and unyielding, offering a hand that once bruised and healed in equal measure, something cracked in me, a fissure where the boy who'd loved him still whispered. Fine, I muttered, hating the tremor in my voice. One dinner. Then we talk business. That night, we ended up at a speakeasy off the L train in Bushwick, dim Edison bulbs, velvet booths scarred from illicit touches, jazz humming low like a shared secret. Stephen ordered Manhattans without asking, the cherry garnish bobbing like a dare, and for an hour, it was almost normal, him grilling me on the novel's arc, me deflecting with snark about plot holes in his life choices. You always were the dramatic one, he chuckled, that deep rumble vibrating through the table. His knee brushed mine under it. Accidental? Intentional? And heat pooled low in my gut, traitorous and familiar. Tell me about the last 5 years, he pressed, eyes softening in the low light, like he gave a damn. So I did, in fits and starts, the string of shitty jobs, the panic attacks that still woke me gasping, the string of one-night stands with betas who faded like smoke because they couldn't fill the void he'd carved. I wrote to forget you, I admitted, the whiskey loosening my tongue. But every alpha in my stories, they're you. The good, the bad, the basement. His face shuddered, jaw clenching like he'd swallowed glass. I was messed up back then, Don. Dad's death. The bottle, I thought I was protecting you. Alphas don't get it right the first time. He reached across, fingers grazing my wrist. And God help me, I didn't pull away. The touch ignited sparks, old fires banked but never out, and when he leaned in, murmuring, I've changed. Let me prove it. I let him kiss me there in the booth, slow and searing, tasting of bourbon and second chances. We tumbled back to my studio in a haze of cabs and clumsy hands. The door barely shut before he had me against the wall, his mouth mapping collarbones I'd hidden under hoodies for years. "Missed this," he growled, hands sliding under my shirt, rough palms igniting skin that remembered every callus. I arched into him, Omega instincts screaming mine even as my brain wailed danger. It was frantic, clothes shedding like old skin. His shirt revealing the tattoo I'd traced 100 times, a snarling wolf across his pec. My jeans pooling at ankles as he dropped to his knees, taking me in with a hunger that bordered on worship. "Beautiful," he breathed, before his mouth closed over me, hot and unrelenting, drawing moans I hadn't voiced since that basement door clicked shut. After, tangled in sheets that smelled of us, he held me close, no chains, just arms like anchors. "We'll make this work," he promised, fingers combing my hair. The book. Clean slate. I wanted to believe him, curled against the thunder of his heart. Brooklyn's skyline a jagged silhouette beyond the fire escape. For the first time in years, sleep came easy, dreams laced not with screams, but whispers of what if. But mornings bring clarity, and with it, the cracks. By week 2, Stephen was in my space constantly. Just to brainstorm, he'd say, but his edits came laced with control. "Too vulnerable here, Donnie. Tone it down." My chapters on captivity, gutted. The Omega's rage, softened to submission. Readers want romance, not trauma porn. He'd insist over takeout Thai, his alpha presence filling the room until I shrank. Old habits dying hard. I pushed back once, during a late-night session in his sleek editor's office at Apex. Glass walls overlooking the Manhattan Bridge, a far cry from the Queen's dump. "This is my story, Stephen. Not yours to cage again." He pinned me to the desk with a look, not hands, but it was enough, his scent thickening the air, pheromones demanding obedience. "I'm helping you, baby. Trust me." And damn it, I did, letting him rewrite my pain into something palatable, something that sold. The betrayal simmered slow, bubbling up in stolen moments. His phone buzzing at odd hours, the faint floral scent of another Omega on his collar one Friday when he claimed a late meeting. I confronted him in the loft I'd started calling ours, rain lashing the windows like accusations. "Who's she?" I demanded, voice steady despite the quake in my chest. He laughed it off. Jealous? Cute. But his eyes darted, the lie sharp as shattered glass. It peaked at the launch party for the first arc excerpts, a glittering affair in a Soho gallery, queer icons in tailored suits, champagne flutes clinking like fragile truces. I stood in a borrowed blazer, Elias Crow unveiled at last, Stephen's hand possessive on my lower back as he pitched me to agents like a prize. "Donald's got that raw edge," he schmoozed, but I polished him up real nice. Polished. Like I was furniture he'd built. Then I saw her, Lila Voss, rising starlit Omega with legs for days and a laugh like wind chimes, slipping into the coat room with him, her hand on his arm, his mouth at her ear. My stomach dropped, the room spinning in a kaleidoscope of envy and rage. I followed, heart hammering, pushing through the velvet curtain to find them pressed close, his hands in her hair, whispering things I'd once mistaken for vows. "You son of a bitch," the words exploded from me, raw and ragged, as I yanked him back. Lila gasped, fleeing with a muttered sorry, leaving us alone in the dim, coats muffling the party's hum. Stephen's face twisted. Guilt? Anger? Before settling into that cold alpha mask. It's nothing, Don. Just networking. Networking? I laughed, bitter as bile. With your dick? Fuck you, Stephen. I thought. My voice broke, tears hot on my cheeks. The boy from the basement clawing free. I thought you saw me. Really saw me. He stepped closer, hands raised like surrender, but his scent roared dominance. You overreacting again? Like back then? I need this. Baby, Lila's connected. For us. For your career. My career. I shoved him, palms flat against his chest, feeling the wolf tattoo leap under my touch. You used me. Again. Rewrote my story. Rewrote me, just to keep your options open. The gallery noise swelled, a wave crashing, but we were islands in fury, me unraveling, him towering, unyielding. He grabbed my wrists, not hard, but firm enough to echo chains. You're mine, Donald. Always were. This city's eaten softer men than you. That did it, the spark to my powder keg. I twisted free, storming out into the Soho night, rain soaking me through as I hailed a cab back to Brooklyn. The driver glanced in the rearview, pity in his eyes. Rough night, kid. I nodded, silent, the city lights blurring into streaks of neon regret. Days blurred into a haze. Ignored calls from Stephen, deleted emails from Apex. My manuscript, our manuscript, stuffed in a drawer like a corpse. I holed up in the studio, writing furiously, not for publication, but exorcism, a new story, unpolished, where the Omega didn't forgive, didn't break, but burned the Alpha's world to ash and walked away whole. Friends rallied, my queer writing circle, betas and fellow Omegas with tattoos of solidarity and hugs that didn't demand. You're enough, Mia, a trans poet with a voice like velvet thunder, told me over pierogies in Greenpoint. Don't let him dim your light. But the climax came unbidden. 2 weeks later, as I trudged home from a shift at the indie bookstore, arms laden with dog-eared paperbacks, the kind that whispered you're not alone. Stephen was waiting on my stoop, soaked from the drizzle, a bottle of my favorite bourbon dangling from his fingers like a white flag. We need to talk, he said, voice hoarse, eyes red-rimmed in a way alphas rarely allowed. Talk. I dropped the books, spines cracking on the wet steps. Or conquer. He flinched, and for the first time, I saw the fracture in him, the man beneath the mask, frayed by his own storms. He thrust the bottle at me, hands shaking. I fucked up. Lila was a distraction. From this, he gestured between us, vague and aching. From how much I still, his voice caught, and he looked away, toward the river where fairies ghosted like lost souls. I read your new draft. The one you emailed Apex before pulling it. It's brilliant. Raw. I'd sent it in a fit of spite, and signed, just to spite him. Now, it hung there, a grenade with the pin half pulled. Why tell me now? I whispered, rain mingling with tears I couldn't stop. After everything? Because losing you the first time nearly killed me. He stepped closer, not touching, but close enough his warmth cut the chill. I was the cage, Don. Not you. And if you walk away for good, I'll let you. But know this, I love you. Fucked up, basement deep, but real. The confession hung, heavy as the downpour, And in that moment, Brooklyn held its breath, the brownstones watching, the G-train rumbling distant approval. I could slap him, scream, call the cops I'd threatened that first diner meet. Or I could. I took the bottle, our fingers brushing electric, inevitable, and pulled him inside. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a reckoning. We talked till dawn. Bourbon-burning truths, his therapy since the split, the AA meetings in church basements smelling of stale coffee and redemption. My fears, etched like scars, of being small forever. No sex that night, just words, weaving a fragile bridge over the chasm. The ending, humanistic, as all good American tales are, no tidy bows, but growth in the grit. Apex published the raw version, my voice unedited, climbing charts while Stephen stepped back as editor, content to haunt signings with quiet pride. We tried again. Slow, dates at Coney Island boardwalks, hands linked without possession, his alpha tempered by my omega fire. Betrayal's shadow lingers, trust a daily rebuild, but in the quiet hours, as he reads my drafts aloud in that gravel voice, I feel it, not captive, but chosen. Brooklyn's a city of survivors, after all, and love is the hardest hustle, worth every scar. Months into this tentative thaw, the real work began, not the writing, but the unlearning. Stephen moved into the Williamsburg walk-up officially one gray February morning, his duffel thumping the floorboards like a heartbeat resuming. No basements, he joked, half-grin masking the weight, as he hung his tool belt on the hook by the door, the one I'd installed myself, a small act of claiming space. I nodded, throat tight, remembering the clang of locks that still echoed in thunderstorms. Our days settled into a rhythm as jagged as the skyline. Me at the keyboard till my fingers cramped, spinning tales of queer resilience amid the borough's bustle. Him commuting to Apex's Midtown Hive, red-penning manuscripts that weren't mine, coming home with ink stains on his cuffs and stories of authors teetering on breakthroughs. Evenings were sacred potluck with the circle, where Mia dissected our dynamic over vegan empanadas. Alpha's gotta earn it, Don. Make him grovel poetic. Stephen took it in stride, refilling plates with a deference that felt foreign but genuine, his laughter booming when Javier, our non-binary firebrand, roasted his reformed caveman vibes. Intimacy crept back slow, exploratory like mapping a city after a blackout. First kisses in the kitchen, flour-dusted from my half-assed bread attempts, his hands respectful on my hips, pulling away if my breath hitched wrong. Then nights where we'd strip the layers, literal and not, me tracing the new scars on his knuckles from carpentry relapses during stress binges. Him kissing the faded ink on my inner thigh, a defiant free in looping script from my escape day. Sex, when it reignited, was revelation, him on his back for once, letting me set the pace, omega atop alpha in a reversal that shattered old scripts. Your turn to hold the reins, he'd murmur, eyes locked, sweat slick and vulnerable, as I rode the waves of him, claiming what was mine. But conflict, that American staple, doesn't bow to good intentions. It slunk in with spring's thaw, via an envelope slipped under the door, thick cream stock, embossed with Lila's agency's logo. An invite, her directorial debut screening, a queer indie flick she'd produced. Inspired by real muses, Stephen stared at it over breakfast bagels, cream cheese knife hovering. We don't have to go, I snatched it, pulse thundering. But you want to. The words tasted like ash, dredging the gallery memory, her perfume on his skin, the way he'd dismissed my shatter. Trust, fragile as Brooklyn's pothole-pocked streets, cracked anew. It's closure, he insisted, voice steady but eyes pleading. Show you I'm done with that shit. Closure. The word mocked me, echoing therapy speak from our couple sessions with Dr. Reyes, a no-nonsense Latina beta who'd seen every flavor of dysfunction. Go, she'd advised last week, her office smelling of sage and strong tea. But set boundaries, Mijo. Love's not a spectator sport, so we went, taxiing to the Angelica Film Center on a humid May eve, the theater's marquee glowing like a false promise. Inside, the crowd buzzed, lithe bodies in linen, whispers of breakout talent, swirling like cigarette smoke, banned. But nostalgia dies hard. Lila held court near the popcorn stand, golden hair piled high, dress hugging curves that screamed untouchable. She spotted us, smile faltering for a beat before widening performative. Stephen and Donald, right? The writer. Love your work. Her hand lingered on his arm. Innocent? Calculated? As she gushed about the film, a tale of forbidden alpha-omega trysts in the Hamptons, all glamour and no grit. Stephen stiffened, murmuring pleasantries, but I felt it, the pull, that old gravity. During the screening, as the screen omega submitted with doe-eyed grace, my nails dug crescents into my palms. This is her, I seethed silently. Her fantasy, his ghost. Intermission hit like a gut punch. Lila cornering us in the lobby, champagne flute extended. You two look domesticated. Cute. Her eyes raked Stephen, proprietary, and he shifted, uncomfortable but not calling it out. I excused myself to the bathroom, splashing water on a face burning with humiliation, staring at the mirror's cruel honesty, eyes shadowed, jaw set in quiet war. Back in our seats, the second act unfolded. Betrayal scene, the alpha torn between muses, choosing the shiny new over the scarred old. Art imitating life, or vice versa. As credits rolled to polite applause, Stephen turned to me, mouth opening, but I was already gone, weaving through the throng, out into Houston Street's chaos of honks and halal carts. He caught me blocks away, under a scaffolding skeleton dripping condensation. Don. Wait. That wasn't what? I whirled, rain starting to spit from the sky. Her looking at you like you're still hers? You letting it happen? Tears mixed with drizzle. Hot and unbidden. I'm trying, Stephen. God, I'm trying to trust you. But every time I turn around, it's the basement all over again. Me locked out, you choosing easy. He pulled me into shadow, hands framing my face, thumbs brushing salt from my cheeks. No more easy. You're it, messy, brilliant, all of it, his forehead pressed to mine, breath mingling. I told her off after the gallery. Blocked her. But I should have shut it down tonight. I'm sorry. The apology hung, raw, and in the patter of gathering storm, something shifted, not mended, but acknowledged. We cabbed home in silence, his hand on my knee, a question I answered with a squeeze. That night, no words, just bodies, urgent and honest, me pinning his wrists above his head, setting the rhythm fierce, drawing his submission like a confession. Yours, he gasped, arching, and for once, I believed it. Summer baked Brooklyn into a fever dream. Sidewalk eggs optional. Fire hydrants gushing relief to kids with stickball bats. My novel dropped mid-July. Caged echoes unbound. Hitting shelves with blurbs from heavy hitters. A gut-wrenching anthem for queer survival. The Advocate. Signings packed the McNally-Jackson stacks. Fans queuing with dog-eared copies. Sharing their basements, literal, figurative. Stephen hovered at the edges. Proud but peripheral. Fetching coffees without fanfare. Yet the undercurrent pulled. His late nights at Apex ramping for fall releases. My tours snaking upstate to Hudson Valley writers' retreats. Distance bred doubt. Whispers from mutuals about Stephen's intents with the new hires. One August dusk. Post-reading in Beacon. I scrolled X on the Metro North, a blurry pic from an industry mixer. His arm slung around a young beta editor. Captions winking Harlan's got game. My chest caved. Old panic rising like bile. Confrontation waited till Labor Day weekend. Us holed in a rented cabin upstate. Catskills pines whispering secrets. Adirondack chairs creaking on the porch. I laid it out over Esmore's charred black. The pick, the fears, the exhaustion of rebuilding on sand. Am I paranoid? Or are you slipping? He set his stick aside. Face illuminated by firefly flicker. Paranoid? Maybe. But I get it. He pulled a folder from his pack emails. Therapy notes. A letter to Lila's agency severing ties. I've been scared too. Don. Of fucking this up. Of not being enough for the man who wrote his way out of my hell. His voice cracked. Alpha facade crumbling. That beta? Colleague. Nothing more. But if you need space. Space. I laughed. Soft and broken. I need you to fight for us. Not just apologize. We talked till stars wheeled overhead. Forging packs. Weekly check-ins. No work mixers solo. A shared Google Doc for feels dumps before they festered. Fall gilded the leaves. And with it, our rhythm steadied. Him carving me a desk from reclaimed wood. Sturdy and scarred like us. Me dedicating the sequel to The Alpha Who Learned to Let Go. Romance bloomed in margins. Stolen afternoons at the Brooklyn Museum. His hand in mine amid Warhol's queer icons. Midnight drives over the Brooklyn Bridge. Radio crooning Springsteen as we screamed lyrics into the wind. But climax demands crescendo. And ours crashed with Thanksgiving Family Edition. My estranged kin from Alabama summoned by Stephen's insistence on normalcy. The airport pickup was a minefield. Mom's hug stiff. Dad's handshake avoiding eyes. Their Bible thump disapproval veiled in small talk. Dinner at our place. Turkey brined in brine of tension. Unraveled when Dad cornered Stephen in the kitchen. Heard about your past. Fix him right. Or don't bother. Stephen's response? Measured fury. Donald's not broken, sir. He's whole. And I'm the lucky one. But the seed planted me. Post-meal. Overhearing Mom whisper to Dad. Still that way? After all we've prayed. I fled to the fire escape. City lights a blur. The weight of unchosen blood crushing. Stephen found me there. Blanket draped. Passing a flask of spiked cider. They're wrong, he said simply. Settling beside. About you. About us. We sat in silence. His presence a bulwark. Until I leaned into him, whispering, take me away from this. We drove that night impromptu to a Jersey Shore motel, waves crashing like applause. In the Saltang room, we made love with the ocean's roar as witness. Slow, reverent, him whispering litanies of mine. Always, me answering with touches that mapped forgiveness. Dawn broke pink over dunes, and in that light, betrayal's ghost faded, not gone, but tamed. Winter clamped Brooklyn in iron jaws, sidewalks slick with black ice, breaths clouding like unspoken regrets. My sequel, Unchained Verses, dropped in December, a beast of vulnerability that critics hailed as the queer great American novel's next chapter. Tours pulled me cross-country. Chicago's windy city winters mirroring my chill resolve, San Francisco's fog-shrouded readings echoing old freedoms. Stephen held the fort. Video calls our tether. His face pixelated but eyes warm, promising homes waiting, Stormbringer, yet solitude bred phantoms. In a Portland hotel, jet-lagged and lonely, I woke to a nightmare. Basement walls closing, Stephen's silhouette in the doorway, laughing as chains rattled. Heart pounding, I dialed him at 3 a.m. His time. Just a dream, I gasped when he answered, voice thick with sleep. Dreams lie, he rumbled, the line crackling like comfort. Tell me. So I did. Words tumbling, fears of backsliding, of him tiring of my fractures. You're my anchor, but anchors drag sometimes. Silence stretched. Then let's cut the chain. Together, he booked a red-eye, arriving at my next stop in Seattle with coffee and a ring. Not diamond, but a hammered silver band etched with a key, omega symbol intertwined. Not proposal, he clarified, slipping it on amid Pike Place's fish-tossing chaos. Promise. To keep unlocking. The gesture melted ice. But conflict's a hydra, cut one head, two grow. Back in Brooklyn for New Year's, we hosted the Circle's Bash. Fairy lights strung like hope, Mia DJing queer anthems that shook the rafters. Amid the revelry, a knock, Lila, uninvited, bottle of Veuve in hand, eyes glassy with coincidence and champagne bravado. Heard about the book. Congrats. She thrust it at Stephen, hug lingering, her omega scent blooming aggressive challenge, not charm. The room hushed, instincts prickling. I stepped forward, arm linking Stephen's. Thanks. Doors that way, polite venom, southern manners weaponized. She laughed, brittle. Protective much? He mentioned you were. Sensitive. Stephen tensed, disentangling. Lila. Enough. We're done. All of it. His voice brooked no alpha command, just finality. She deflated, mask slipping to reveal hurt, raw, human. Fine. Happy for you. Really. She left with a swirl of coat, party resuming like a held breath released. Later, fireworks booming over the East River. Stephen pulled me to the roof. You handled that like a boss. His kiss tasted of confetti and relief, hands roaming free under my sweater. Proud of you, but pride's fleeting, doubts persistent. January brought Apex's annual retreat, snowy Berkshire's lodge, editors schmoozing by fireplaces roaring like egos. Stephen went solo, my tour overlapping. Video dates, we pledged, but signals faltered in the woods, calls dropping, texts curt with busy. Paranoia whispered. Lila's there? New blood? Peaked mid-retreat. A leaked email chain, forwarded by an anonymous Apex intern, Javier's contact. Bless. Stephen praising a junior editor's potential. Words I'd once twisted in my head. I fired off a voice note. Voice shaking. Potential? Like mine wasn't enough. No response till hours later. Misunderstanding. Call me. I did. From a Manhattan diner. Fluorescent hum mocking my meltdown. It's the pattern. Stephen. You edit me out. My edges. My trust. Tears choked me. Waitress sliding pie I couldn't eat. Am I writing us into oblivion? His end crackled. Voice urgent. No. Flying back now. Wait for me. He did, barging into the diner at dawn. Rumpled from red eye. Dropping to one knee not for rings but raw plea. I see you. Don. Every jagged inch. Let me prove it, not with words, but actions. Actions followed. Him quitting the junior's mentorship. Transparent scheduling shared via app. A weekend lockdown in the loft. No phones. Just us. Cooking disasters and board games that devolved into Naked Twister. Laughter healed deeper than apologies. His submission in bed a daily vow. Me directing. Him yielding. Bodies sinking like verses in rhyme. Spring equinox brought renewal. Cherry blossoms dusting the promenade. My third book contract inked sans Stephen's oversight. We celebrated at Domodomo. Sushi sharp as fresh starts. His foot hooked round my ankle under the table. To uncaged, he toasted, glasses clinking. Yet the arc demands ascent to plummet. Summer solstice weekend. A queer-lit fest in Provincetown, whale-watching capital turned rainbow haven. We drove the Cape in his beat-up F-150. Windows down. Salt wind whipping doubts away. Panels buzzed. Me on trauma as muse. Stephen in the audience, nodding fierce. After party at a seaside Victorian. Bonfire crackling. Bodies swaying to indie folk. There, amid firelight and fireflies, conflict ignited anew. Not betrayal, but buried bomb. The fan, burly alpha with a beard like Auden, cornered me post-reading. Loved the captivity arc. Based on your man. He jerked thumb at Stephen, laughing. He looks the type, possessive vibe. I bristled, scanning for Stephen, engrossed in chat with a poetess. Backs turned. It's fiction, I snapped, but the seed sprouted. Does he, still? Later, as waves lapped the shore, I confronted him by the dunes, moon silvering sand. That guy said you give off cage vibes. Do I imagine it? Stephen's face shadowed. Honest. Maybe I do. Old habits. But I'm working it, therapy. Books on healthy alpha shit. He cupped my face. Earnest. Tell me when it flares. I'll back off. The vulnerability cracked me open. Love not as conquest, but collaboration. We made love there on the beach. Towels rumpled. Ocean sighing approval. Gentle, exploratory. His whispers of guide me met with my commands. Boundaries blurred into bliss. Fall harvest brought bounty. Joint reading at the Brooklyn Book Festival. Our voices intertwining. My prose, his intros drawing crowds that swelled like pride. Critics noted the palpable partnership, and for once, felt true. But climax loomed, inevitable as equinox. November chill nipped. My Alabama family issuing a summons. Mom's 60th. Come home or lose us, Stephen urged. Go. Show him the man you became. Alone, I insisted, he stayed, prepping for Apex's holiday push. Birmingham airport hit like a time warp. Magnolias mocking, accents thick with judgment. Dinner at the Old Victorian. Kin assembled, cousins quizzing my fancy New York life. Dad's silence a wall. Then Mom, post-cake, pulled me aside. He's good for you? That. Stephen, I nodded, throat tight. Better than good. He sees me. Her hug lingered, tears unspoken, a thaw, small but seismic. Return flight turbulence mirrored inner storm, landing to find Stephen at baggage claim, but his eyes storm-gray weary. Missed you, he murmured, but fatigue clung like cologne. That night, unpacking, a slip, his phone buzzing, screen lighting a text from work buddy, Lila's number, unblocked, drinks soon, miss our talks. Heart plummeting, I thrust it at him. Explain, his face ashen. She emailed last month, apology. I saved for proof. Meant to show you, lie or truth, the basement echoed, chains rattling. Fury erupted. Proof or temptation? I stormed out, wandering Brooklyn's pre-dawn streets, Dumbo's warehouses looming like accusations, bridge lights mocking. Dawn found me at the diner of our restart, coffee cold, resolve hardening. He arrived as sun-crested, disheveled, desperate. I blocked her, deleted everything. Dawn, please, trust's a thread. Stephen, you've frayed it too many times. Words cut, but truth freed. I love you, but I can't be your redemption project. His nod broke something in us both. Acceptance, aching. Then go be free. I'll always be your biggest fan. Winter's grip tightened post-fracture. Brooklyn a frozen tableau of what-ifs. I sublet the loft, neutral ground, crashing with Mia in her bed-stewy brownstone, walls alive with her murals of fierce fawns and forgotten gods. Heartbreak's fertilizer, she decreed over midnight matzo ball soup, her hand steady on mine. Grow from it, poet. Stephen respected the space. Text sparse, proud of your op-ed in Out, or saw your reading clip, killed it. No please, just presence at the periphery. Mailing care packages of my favorite Sharpies and his handwritten notes tucked in. Your words unchain the world. Keep soaring. 8. The void omega-shaped, but therapy with Dr. Reyes fortified. Grieve the dream, not the man. He can change, but you don't wait. Spring unfurled tentative. Tulips defiant in cracked sidewalks. My fourth manuscript birthed in fevered solitude. Echoes unbound. A queer odyssey of self-forged love. Alphas as allies, not overlords. Apex past, conflict of interest, but a smaller press. Queer-owned in the village. Snapped it up. Editor a soft-spoken beta with no scent but ink and ambition. Launch coincided with pride. Parade thumping through Manhattan. Rainbows riotous against June sky. Stephen showed, unbidden, at the after-party in a Hell's Kitchen warehouse. Black tea hugging his frame, I scanning till they locked mine. Bought the book, he said, holding it out, signed by strangers but cherished. It's you fully, we talked, not lovers but survivors. His AA sponsor stories, my circle's interventions, the mutual growth in absence. I get it now, he admitted, voice low over thumping bass. Love's not holding. It's releasing. His hand brushed mine, electric, platonic, and I didn't flinch. Summer simmered with serendipity. Chance coffees turning habitual. Him recommending my work to podcasts. Me guesting his carpentry vlog on building without breaking. Flirtation flickered, winks over iced lattes. Knees brushing at literary mixers, but boundaries held. A dance of maybe. Fall's foliage turned therapy gold. Joint session with Dr. Reyes. Not reconciliation but closure. You've both evolved, she noted. sage burning like benediction. What now? Stephen's answer, friends. If he'll have me, mine, yeah. Doors open. Thanksgiving dawned crisp. No family summons, just us. With the circle. At a Greenpoint farm-to-table spread. Turducken queerified with rainbow stuffing. Toasts to found kin. Stephen arrived last. Pie in hand. His laugh integrating seamless. Post-feast. As snow dusted first. We walked the pier, him in wool cap. Me bundled. Breath sinking. Miss this, he said. Not us, but the ease. I nodded, leaning shoulder to shoulder. Me too. Climax crested unexpectedly. New Year's Eve. A blizzard blanketing the city in hush. Power flickered, stranding us at my new Bushwick sublette, a sunlit airy with views of graffitied warehouses. Candles guttered. Board games devolved to truth or dare. His truths of basement shame, my dares of vulnerability shared. Midnight neared. Fireworks muffled by snow. Truth, I prompted, hearts pounding. I love you, he whispered. Not alpha command but human hope. Not to own. To walk beside. The kiss ignited, slow, consensual, years distilled. Clothes shed in candle glow. Bodies rediscovered. His scars mapped anew. My tattoos traced reverent. We moved deliberate. Equals him yielding. Me guiding. Climax a symphony of gasps and yes. Release not conquest but communion. Dawn broke white. Us tangled. Ring from Seattle still on his finger, mine now. Reclaimed. Partners? He murmured. Sleepy grin. Partners, I echoed. Brooklyn awakening below. The year turned. Humanistic in its mess. Therapy trios. Pride floats co-captained. Books co-promoted. Betrayal scar faded to lesson. Trust earned daily. Love a verb. Stephen's alpha softened to ally. My omega fierce in freedom. In America's queer quilt, we stitched our square. Dramatic falls. Romantic rises. Emotional depths plumbed for light. One evening. Promenade stroll. Manuscript in hand, our collab. Alpha-omega duo penning, bridges unburnt. He read aloud. Voice gravel gold. As gulls wheeled. This line. Love's the key we both hold. Perfect. I smiled. Hand in his. We wrote it together. And in that, the ending. Not tragic by. Not fairy happy ever. But human flawed. Full. Forever unwritten. Yet stories. Like lives. Loop. Echoes unbound but resonant. 2 springs on. Our bridge tested anew. Stephen's Apex promotion dangling a relocation. LA's sun-bleached sprawl calling with queer film tie-ins for my series. Your call, he said over diner pancakes. Syrup sticky as indecision. Brooklyn's home. But, home. The word tugged. My airy now ours. Walls hung with joint art. His whittled wolves beside my rejection letter collages. The circle voted split. Mia for Stay Gritty. Javier for Chase Glamour. Dr. Reyes mediated. What feeds your souls? We waited in Catskills weekends. Hikes through fern-choked trails. Decisions dawning slow. LA means distance from roots. I voiced. Fire crackling. But opportunity for us both. His hand squeezed mine. Roots travel. You're my soil. Compromise bloomed. Hybrid. Him commuting quarters. Me scripting pilots from either coast. Launch of Bridges. Packed the Brooklyn Public Library standing room. Fans spilling to Grand Army Plaza. Stephen emceed. Intro heartfelt. Donald's words freed me. Together, we built this. Q&A delved deep. Betrayals queried. Growth lauded. A teen Omega, eyes wide, asked, "How'd you forgive?" I glanced at Stephen. Steady. Didn't. First. Forgave the man who showed up after. Post-event. Rooftop after-party. Stars pricking smog. City hum below. Lila appeared. Spectral, sober now. Her directorial nod bobbing. Heard the collab. Inspiring. No edge. Just nod, human arc complete. Winter solstice brought ritual. Yule log at the loft. Circle chanting. Stephen carving runes of intent. As flames danced, he knelt. Not proposal, but pledge. Wherever we roam, I'm yours. Unchained. Tears pricked, joy's edge. And I'm home. The denouement unfolded gentle. LA trial run. Us in a Silver Lake bungalow. Palms whispering. Queer brunches buzzing. Brooklyn pulls monthly. Circle visits bridging coasts. Books multiply, mine adapted. His memoir ghosted. Alpha unmasked. One golden dusk. Griffith Observatory overlook. City sprawl at our feet. He turns. Marry me? Not chain's choice. I pull the silver keyring. Loop it round his neck. Yes. Equals. Ceremony. Humanist. June Pride Beach in Fire Island. Circle officiating. Waves vowing witness. Vows raw. I release you to be whole. Mine. I choose you. Daily. His. Rings exchanged. Keys engraved. Unlocking mutual. Years thread. Kids? Adopted duo. Biracial betas with Stephen's grin. My wanderlust. Conflicts ebb therapy touchstones. Betrayals banished to prologue. Romance endures. Anniversaries in Brooklyn basements turned galleries. His hands building cribs. Mine scripting their dreams. In twilight years, gray threading temples. Brooklyn still calling. We pen finale. Echoes eternal. Legacy for the next unchained. On the promenade. Gulls wheeling. He reads last line. Love's not end, but endless bridge. I lean in. Kiss salt sweet. Our story. Human. American, dramatic in falls. Emotional in climbs. Romantic in returns. Humanistic in holds. Unfinished. Beautifully.